You were a worker at Garden View. You knew all of the tunes really well, and they all seemed to get along with you perfectly fine. However, you also knew that, well, a lot of the time they would just avoid you. You had no clue why, but you figured it was just that they were busy. One day when you had gotten there, you had noticed that everyone was in the circle area near the tree, talking. You're not one for eavesdropping, but you decide to listen anyway, to see if it's something important. Then you hear Scraps say, "Look, yes, we all know listeners not everyone's favorite, but at least they try to be nice. Sure, we're not really big on them. Still, at least they come. They could be like everyone else and abandon us." Then Goob looks at everyone, confused, and asks, since when did we start hating Listener? Then everyone looks at him in complete confusion. And Shelley says, no one here has liked Listener since they got here. I thought we were all on the same page. You notice that Goob looks a little upset. And you are too, but you manage to mask it as you go into the room and say, "Hey guys, how you doing?" They immediately get rid of the whole not liking you thing and just go about what they usually do. And then Goob just hugs you and says, "If you heard any of that, I'm sorry. I promise I don't agree with them." Then you allow your sadness to show as you say, "It's okay, Goob. I understand if they don't like me. It's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter if they like me. It just matters that I'm doing my job." Then Goob says, "Well, they should at least give you a chance. They really, really should." You chuckle and say, "Well, thanks, Goob. I'm glad there's at least one person here who I can talk to." Then he smiles and says, "Of course. I'll always be here for you." After a while, and the others seem to start to like you again. And it kind of confuses you, because that happened shortly after Goob disappeared. One day, you're just wandering the floors, since you were friends with everyone, so you didn't really see any reason to stay in the lobby anymore, because you knew you wouldn't get attacked. Then you see him. Goob had gone twisted. Then you just go up to him and hug him before he sees you. And then you say, "I'm sorry, Goob. I should have figured it was something like this. I thought you were just sick." Then when Goob swipes at you, you just grab his hand, preventing him from actually dealing damage. Then you say, "Goob, I am not gonna let you become a monster. You may already see yourself as one, but you aren't. I can assure you of that. You're still my closest friend. After a bit, you had managed to get Goob to, be able to think and control himself. And so he quietly stutters out, "Listener, why didn't you run? You should have. You know you should have." And you hug him tight and say, "It's because that's not what friends do, Goob. And plus, I can't just leave the one I love to die. Sure, you're already semi-dead, but still, you're still you. I'm not letting you go that easily." You notice that he's crying, so you ask, "Goob, hey, what's wrong?" "I'm sorry, did I say something wrong?" Then he hugs you tight and gently kisses you. And then he says, "Listener, thank you. And I know this is sudden, but I love you, and have for a while. I'm fine with it if you don't feel the same, but I figured I'd tell you. After all, now's as good a time as any." You blush deeply, then hug him super tight and say, "I love you too, Goob." After a while, and the two of you are back in the lobby, and everyone's just giving you side glances, clearly concerned and confused. And then Scraps asks, "Listener, you do realize my brother's twisted, right? He could attack at any point." Then you calmly say, "I know, but it's him. I can trust him. I know I can." After a while, you had managed to get him back to normal. And no one knew, but you two were a thing. You were dating. You loved him to the moon and back. One day, you noticed Shrimpo's being mean, like usual, but this time, instead of to someone else, it's to Goob. So you go up to him and say, "Shrimpo, how about you go?" That surprises everyone, because they know you're not really that big on standing up for people. And then Shrimpo says, "And what if I don't?" Then you calmly say, "Well, I'd just like to see you try to actually win this fight." And then Goob manages to grab you and pull you into him, which calms you down, making it so you don't try to fight Shrimpo. Then you say, "Thanks, babe, but you shouldn't have done that. I have to protect you, right?" And Goob looks at you and says, "Baby, look, you don't need to protect me. I'm fine, see? He was just hurling insult. Just the basics. They don't affect me anymore." And everyone had just realized you had called him babe and he had called you baby, which gets them to think that you two are dating. So Scraps asks, "Listener, are you dating my little bro?" Then you chuckle and say, "Yeah, why?" And everyone's just in shock because they never anticipated you'd answer so quickly and happily. After a while, and you and Goob are cuddling in one of the storage rooms, he has your head against his chest, since the fluff on his chest seemingly serves as a good pillow. He gently kisses you and says, "I love you, baby." And then you happily say, "I love you too, hon." And you both fall asleep while cuddling.